Well, I'm at the first Camry looking for an alternator. Not here. Looks like this engine's already been dropped out. That's where the alternator would have been. We got 2 more chances. So I noticed that the lights were incredibly dim the other night, and I thought, well, maybe we're just used to the LED bulbs in the other cars, and this Camry didn't have one yet. And as we turn onto the road that makes us about, I don't know, 2 miles from home, could hardly even see. And I made the comment again, man, I can't see. I got to order some bulbs for this car. And just about that time, the needles go dead. The dash starts freaking out. The radio turns off. And the car fortunately rolls for about another half a mile. And we were able to stop right in front of a church. And then the boys had to push. And they pushed and pushed, and Amy helped push. And we got about 10 minutes of pushing to our road, and was able to roll down the hill and make it about another quarter of a mile. And then that last quarter mile, Hayden went and grabbed the truck and pushed the car to the house and discovered it was the alternator. So this is the next Camry. Engine's dropped. Alternator. Got one more try. Road 23, space 3. Well, they've moved one. That's not it. So I read it wrong. It was row 24, space 3, and this whole engine's dropped out, and there is no alternator. Well, I guess it's time to go to cash and carry. It used to be a 10-minute drive for me, and now it's about an 80-mile drive. So it took about an hour to get down here to find out parts we need aren't even here. So there's one more salvage yard a few miles away. I'm going to give them a shot. They had 3 cars out there. I'm going to get my hopes up. But it's too bad that 2010-2011 Camry is the only model that this particular alternator is used on. And all the interchange I tried to do, can't find any other model that uses it. It's the 4-rib pulley, not the 6 on the models before. So it's just odd. They only did that for 2 years and only put that alternator on one particular model car. So it kind of sucks if you're out looking for one. Might have to break down and rebuild mine or get one off of Amazon. So on the way to the car, we'll go to the next spot. So they did give me another list of could-be's. Checked a good bit of them. The older cars are 6-rib pulley. No, it's not going to work. I need a 4-rib. So thought I'd take a shot on a RAV4 and see what I could find. And this alternator is similar, but not exactly the same. Let me show you. So that's the bottom mounting point, which is a cross from the top mounting point. And even the back side looks the same as mine. Now, I did get a picture of my label where mine is a 27060, but it's an OVO60, and that one's a 3610. And even that second row numbers, the first 6 are the same, but the second 4 are not. The plug lining up is the same. So I don't know that I want to drop $50 on a, hopefully, maybe this will work. I think I'm gonna go try the other joint and get out of here. Found the parts at Scott's starter and alternator. He tested it for me, showed me what was wrong with it, and had the parts in stock. So if you're in the Dublin area, check him out. Immediate service. Okay, I've got my parts home. This is the alternator. So you can either go by the Toyota number or the Denso number. Very hard to find. When I've looked on Amazon and on eBay, it's very hard to find this 2650, the 104 or the 04210 2650. You can find a lot of different numbered ones, but nothing specifically for this. And I didn't want to order the wrong thing and have it show up and then deal with shipping it back. So you can see that these are almost 180 degrees off. The older, like the 2009 alternator, instead of this mounting point here, it's right here. So that won't work, even though the back looks the same. The 09 RAV4 has the same 180 off. The back looks the same, but the numbers are not the same. So I decided I want to rebuild this. So when the fellow at Scott's was checking it out, he said, this here is a clutch end pulley. So, and he was testing it, and he said, normally you can rock this pulley and then grab this, and sometimes the wheel inside will keep going. And that's supposed to, I don't know what that's supposed to do. But he said this one feels like that it is solid and not letting go, which is fine. So now to get started, these 3 8mm are going to come off. So with those removed, this housing will come off. Now this is already removed, because I had him check that. And I have my replacement here. And you can see these brushes are tall. The brushes that were in here originally were about where that black mark right there is above my thumb. So they had worn down a good bit, but this is a 280,000 mile car, which the brushes is what I thought was wrong with it. And then he showed me, after he tested it and heard the noise, he said, I know exactly what to look for. So he started checking these right here. He said that one's solid. And of course, this one he picked at, but it didn't look like it had anything wrong with it because I wasn't really paying attention, I guess, looking here, but you can see where that's melted. And then he said he believes this one here was on its way out. You can see that mark right there behind it. So what I'm going to do, let me show you the new part. Okay, so here's the new part. And you can see this top is a little different than this here. And where these 2 wires come up. And there are 3 pairs of these. One's right there. And so what I'm going to do is clip this right here at the top on all 3 pair. And then they're going to slide into here. And you just solder them in. And then this here is what holds on the regulator, attaches it. Now that's spot welded, so that I'm going to have to try to pry off of there. I may have to grind it off. He said he normally cuts that part right down there and then deals with it once this is off. So now that those are cut, take off this screw, those, and that'll get this rectifier off of there. So I got them cut loose. Now they weren't all the way, but you can see, you know it's right when you can see these little pieces here stay in place when you're sliding this up. I have to check this one, because that one right there is still in place. All right, so they're all loose, and I have been prying it up. I'm just going to do this with both hands. All right, so this is what you're left with. And so you have to straighten these up and get a little bend out of them. I'll take a little sandpaper, clean this here. See, there's a little bit of grooves, but he also checked that for me and said that that's fine. That won't hurt anything. If they're the copper is missing, that's going to be your issue. And so here's the piece I removed, the rectifier, and you can see in dealing with it, that one went ahead and broke off. That's the one that was already bent. And that one already broke off. So it didn't take a whole lot to unseat them. But this is a 280,000 mile original alternator. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is see right here, that's where the regulator is welded on. So you can't really get that off easily. So this is the piece he said he cuts off, and then he can deal with that when it's in his hand. So I'm gonna do that. So it's easy to cut through that plastic or whatever that is to get this little wire cut out. Now that's the voltage regulator. Now we're going to work on getting this piece of copper out of there. I took the flap disc, ground it off the outer ear, and I'm just going to solder the new part right up to it. So I ran a little 6,000 grit on that there, just to get a little debris off, but didn't want to cut through that copper. So you can see those wires came up into these boxes. That's where it's going to get soldered. And then the new brush on there, voltage regulator. I put it upside down. So I thought I had it upside down, but I don't. I compared the old one to it, and everything was the same. I mean, mounting holes and all that. This tab had to bend out. And the regulator will slide right into its spot. Guess if I had the regulator not upside down. See, I was confused about that there, but that's actually the tab to hold the brush. And so that part right there will get soldered. And then all 6 of these. So while I'm waiting on the soldering iron to heat up, went ahead and put the screws in, so it's holding everything in place where it should be, even put the regulator back on. And so that tab sitting right next to the part on the new rectifier. So we'll just solder all 7 of these points at one time. All right. Got my ugly solder job done. Now I gotta put the brushes on. So to hold the brushes back, I got a paper clip, which when I hold the back, it will hold these down. So they'll slip right over that. So there the brushes are. They're set. Paper clip goes through this little hole here, out the bottom. Now it can set right on here, not have to damage the brushes. Put the screws in and it'll pull the pin. All the screws are tight. Brushes are released. And just slip this fella right back on. I think I did it upside down. I did. All right, we'll put these nuts back on. All right, let's put this thing back in. Probably one of the easiest alternators I've had to do, because everything is right here on top. Get the bottom started. $14mm, same as the other. All right, it's tight. Now, put the hot side on the alternator. That's a 10. This is a 10 for this bracket bolt here. Took this little plug out here that made this whole harness move over. So plug in. That's the plug for the alternator. All right, now the belt. that's it. We're back in. All right, battery is at 12.5 volts. Let's go start it up. Worked. Man, that's great. Yeah, this engine's noisy. It's 280,000 miles. This is the first ever alternator that I've rebuilt. I've swapped a many, bought a bunch of new ones, and $72 is what I spent on these parts, and that is a little more than I would have spent if I bought it off of Amazon. I think it was about 50 bucks, and it came with bearings, but I'd have to wait on it. And yeah, some places you can wait a day, a couple days, but I mean, the fellow was right there. It was his own business, and I wanted to do business with him. So don't let this rectifier scare you. The thing that took the longest is waiting on the soldering iron to heat up the metal components so the solder will stick. But if the car's broke, you ain't got nothing but time. So don't be afraid to get out there and see if you can fix it and make an old car work again. Maybe not such a real old car, it's an 07, but it's got a lot of miles on it, and it's worth me putting in a little bit of time to get it going again. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.